Lehigh University.
All right. We're gonna start recording this now. Hello everyone. I'm T Bear, and welcome to the episode of the Bear Facts. And some of you guys don't know me, but some of you guys do. I was a musician. I was around in the '70s a lot, and into the '80s, and then I took a hiatus and retired, raising a family, and stayed away from music for quite a while until I got back into it. And one of the ways I got back into it was meeting my guest again. Um, I'm going to introduce the magnificent, splendid, very funny and charming, if I don't say, Denny Seiwell. Denny Seiwell. And Denny Seiwell is one of the premier and great drummers that's around. And he played and plays and continues to play. Not only did he continue to play on recordings, but he has such a diversity, including, but not limited to, he's also a professor of the drums. He teaches students how to play drums and how to play it really well. So you were born in Lehighton, Pennsylvania, and you, I guess, were in the Navy band at first, and that's where you got your kind of chops, maybe.
No, I was about to get drafted, so I said, don't give me a gun, man. Give me a drum and I'll do something better for the troops. So I heard this Navy School of Music thing that I auditioned for in Washington, D.C., got in, which guaranteed me that I would just play in the band. But I learned all of my stuff in my hometown from my dad, first off, then Professor Charles Frohnheiser at the Lehighton Boys Band, and my high school crap. I played with the band, orchestra, choir, all of that. I played all of that stuff, and I was doing gigs since I was 13. So when I got when it was time to get drafted, I was all ready to go to college. So I just did the Navy thing to get two birds with one stone, and I actually got a beautiful year and a half schooling in Washington, D.C., and they try to cram 4 years into you in a year and a half. And it was actually good.
Okay. And then you started doing sessions, I would imagine.
There's a big gap there. Yeah. My last gig in the Navy was we were stationed in the south of France. That's where I met my wife Monique. And after when I got out, we went right to New York, and I took a shitty gig at a great club called the Half Note. And the Half Note was a famous old jazz club, which is my first love, is the jazz world.
Sure.
And I worked with guys like Al Cohn and Zoot Sims, and Anita O'Day, Richie Camuke, and Bill Berry, and all these guys. We were the house rhythm section that played for everybody. And because of that gig that didn't pay a lot of money, I started getting the better calls for the recording sessions. And pretty soon I'm making records with John Denver and J.J. Johnson and Kay Winding. And just all the early days, it was just a lot of, we'd make a record in 2 days.
Did you play for Liza Minnelli?
Yeah, that was out here. That was much later, but we did a record called, what the hell is the name of it now?
It was. How about Billy Joel? You played for Billy Joel?
I actually started producing him as a brand new artist. Michael Lang sent me a tape of this guy that he was interested in. He said, I want you to listen to this kid. If you like him, I'll put you in the studio with him. And I did. This was right after we were doing the Ram album with Paul and I.
Okay.
So I'm in the studio with Billy, and I picked the band out. We're recording some tracks, and I was like maybe 4 tracks into the album, and McCartney called me. He said, I need you in London now. I said, well, can I finish this tracks first and then come? He says, are you in the band or not? So I had to leave that project, which is a big mistake. It would have been a big I wouldn't have had to worry about money so much growing up.
Oh my God. So, since you mentioned Paul McCartney, Sir Paul, let's talk about how you met him and what that was like. A lot of people know this, but if you don't know this, Denny Seiwell is the founding member of Wings. So
That's right.
I'm
I
going.
put the mortar down and put the brick on top of it.
That's right. I'm gonna defer to you to explain how that happened and your involvement in Wings and start.
Well, it was I really moved up the ranks of the 10, 12 guys in New York that were doing all of the good recording, the drummers. And I was one of those 10, 12 guys. So when Paul came to New York to make Ram, he didn't even have a name for it yet, but he came to, it was right in the middle of breaking up the Beatles. He came to New York to make a record and asked Barry Kornfeld, a friend of mine, kind of a folkie that knew the scene very well in New York, for some names of the cats doing the work, the good work, and my name was on that list. So I was called by my answering service, said, would you accept a demo at such and such a time at such and such an address? And I said, yeah, I can squeeze that in. So I usually didn't do demos because we were doing 4 or 5 dates a day. So I go over to this brownstone, and it's kind of like, I thought I was going to get mugged. It didn't look like there was electricity in the building or anything. And I walk up the steps, and there's a guy sitting in the lobby. It's an empty building with a lobby and a desk. And I said, "Is there a studio here?" He said, "Yeah, basement." I said, "Oh shit! Now I am going to get mugged." So I go down into the basement. It's a dirt floor basement. There's a ratty set of drums in the middle of the room, and Paul and Linda are sitting over here in the corner. I said, "Hey, you're Paul McCartney." He goes, "Yeah, I know that." I said, "What's up?" He says, "Well, we're here in town, and nice to meet you." I said, "We're here in town, and we're going to make a record. We're going to look at some drummers. Do you mind playing?" And I said, "Yeah, what the hell?" So I broke out. I had a couple of tom-toms with me because I just came from another session, and the ones at the ratty drum set, the rent-a-set was terrible. So I put my toms up. And I said, "What do you want? You want to come play with me? You got a guitar or bass or something?" He goes, "No, just you." I went, "Oh, okay." So I said, "Okay, I guess if you can't get it on by yourself, you can't get it on with anybody else." So I went right into Ringo. Yeah, I was just having some fun. So I was there 15 minutes, playing shuffle, rock and roll, slow, fast, a couple of things. He said, "Well, great, we're done here." And I said, "Great, fantastic, nice meeting you," and left. And I thought, I'll never get that gig. I know that all the cats are going to get called in, so I'm in there. But
How long did you wait before you got the call on that?
3 or 4 days, I get a call,
Yeah.
and it was Paul himself. He goes, "Hello, this is Paul." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'd like to hire you to make this record." And I said, "Just a second, let me get my book and let me make sure I'm clear." Well, I jumped up in the air, and anyway, I said, "Yeah, I can do it." So he hired me for. He wanted me to clear out my book for from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, for the next 6 weeks. I said, "Geez, yeah, I'll do that." So, and that's how we went into CBS 52nd Street. I'll tell you a quick story though. In the meantime, from the audition till I got the call that I was hired, my buddy at the Pro Drum Shop in New York, Frank Ippolito, called me and he said, "Hey, the Museum of Famous People in New York is going out of business, and they have Ringo's kit from the Shea Stadium concert." I went, "Yeah, that's great." He said, "I'm going to go to this auction. I'm not interested in some of the drums, but I want the snare drum. Are you interested in the drums?" I said, "Well, I'm not a millionaire, but yeah, sure." So he calls me the day later. I went to the auction. I got the drum set. I'm keeping the snare. You can have the 2 toms and the bass drum. I said, "Wow, how much?" He said, $300. I went, "What?" That was the drums I used on the Ram album. Paul walks into the studio the first day. He goes, "Are those your drums?" I said, "Yeah." And the Beatles head was right on the front. Freaked him right out.
My God.
Yeah, so we started on a good foot.
What a great story.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And you hung with Paul and you got into Wings and And folks, he's the drummer on Live and Let Die as well. I mean, that is one of the great tracks in rock and roll. That's a Hall of Fame track if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
And I have the fortune to play with Denny in a band called Route 66, and we play live. And Laurence, also from Wings, Laurence Juber is
Funny, I was the first and he was the last version of Wings.
that's interesting. You were
Yeah.
the first, he was the last. Well, that's a great story there. So I play with Denny and this live band. We have a great time, and
It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
oh, it is so
So
much.
much fun. T-Bear never says anything about how accomplished he is as a piano player and a groove maker, and
Oh,
he's a great writer and all that stuff, and a good singer. But yeah, he can get down. He can do the thing, you know. And that whole band is full of those kind of cats, you know. Joe Sublette and Mark Pender and John Woodhead. God bless him and Lawrence and Paul Ill, the bass player. It's just such a fun band.
oh yeah, we got Josh Sklar that
Yeah,
with us,
oh,
John Prime and Jerry Vivino, and everyone comes down and plays in this band. So we're going to talk about Fresh Bear Tracks for a second. We did an album, and I was lucky enough to get, well, actually live. This is how this track came about on the album. Um, Live, you and I were doing Procol Harum, A Salty Dog, just
all right.
just you and I.
Yes.
The band would go take a break. You and I, drums and piano and vocal,
Yeah.
would do A Salty Dog from the Procol Harum.
Incredible version of that.
Yeah, and that went over so well, and it was so magical that
Yep.
we cut it in the studio, and it's in the can waiting to be released. And then, we decided to do another cover, Zombie, She's Not There. And you kind of put it right in this amazing swing jazz groove pocket
Yeah,
that
why treat it the same? Let's find another way to treat it.
we found another way to treat it, and it's amazing. And we play it live, and it just blows everybody away the way we do it.
Yeah,
It's so different. And and then we finished the album, and you were signed with your jazz trio.
right. I have a jazz trio, and I was signed to a new label here in LA called Quarto Valley Records.
Okay.
Bruce Quarto is the president of that label, and he so graciously gave me an opportunity to record my trio. The record is called Boomerang. I'm very proud of it. It's an organ, guitar, drums trio, and it's really, really, it's one of the most. I'm more proud of that than just about anything in my whole career. But when we started, I told Bruce, I said, "Man, you got to come down and hear this band because it's really a bitchin' band." And that's a surfer term, by the way. I'm not swearing. So anyway, so Bruce understood bitchin' big time. And he came down and he was just blown away with the band. And I said, "Yeah, we got a record in the can. Why don't you sign him to the label?" And here we are about to release an album.
Here we are. Yeah, thanks to you, Bruce came down and he got interested in what I was doing, and he heard the tracks, and yeah, here we are signed to Quarter Valley Records with Fresh Bear Tracks coming out soon.
And it's really a good record.
Oh, thank you so much, Dan.
Great material, great performances. Everything about it is top notch.
Yeah, we have such great players on this album, and it wasn't work. It was love.
Went to the well.
It went very, very well.
No, you went to the well, calling your friends in.
Oh yeah, I did.
Who's not on that record?
I did. I called everybody.
Who were some of the celebs? You had Tom Scott on that record?
Scott, um, Edgar Winter, Stephen Stills,
Yeah.
um, gosh, Ben Montench, Mike Finnegan,
Oh, love Ben.
great,
Yes.
great horns,
Yeah.
and just a great, great, great band.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to. I was lucky enough. I used to play with Stephen Stills to write a song with him called "Give It Up," and back in the day, and we decided to cut that, and I got Steven to play on it on the record, guitar as well. Um, so we're gonna kind of wind this down, but let me ask you a fun fact or a bare fact that nobody knows about you that isn't kind of public or common knowledge. Give us something.
Okay, 19. Oh, I'm gonna roll it into two pieces. 1975, I'm living in San Francisco and I'm recording with a band called Trout. It was a band leftovers from Wings and a couple Irish guys, and we were actually this is fun. We were asked to replace Big Brother and the Holding Company on some live tracks of Janis Joplin.
Okay.
So we're in the studio. We got Janice in the middle of our headphone mix. We got Big Brother on the right side. We got our band on the left side, and we're replacing the band because they were messed up. But Janice was probably higher than all of them, but she was right on the money, and we you know we replaced them. And the album's called Farewell Song. It's the last record she ever released on CBS. And as a result of that, I was working with Elliot Mazer in San Francisco. Steven Stills calls Elliot and says, I need somebody that's really accomplished to come work with my wife in Paris. He was married to Veronique Sanson.
Okay.
And so we talked for a little bit. He hired me to come do, it was a 40-piece orchestra. And she was one of the top stars in France and still is. And we played at the Paris Olympia Theater 4 nights. With a 40-piece orchestra. It was filmed for ORTF, French television. It was a great band. Steven played bass. It was just an amazing thing. And I have killed myself trying to get some footage, the live performance of that. It was filmed, so it's got to exist. And I can't get it from my archives. So that's my fun fact.
That's a great fun fact. So anybody out there that's got footage of this or knows how to get it,
I'll pay for it.
Denny Seiwell needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let's see, a fun fact about me that you don't know. I can fly airplanes.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I got a pilot's license. I got a captain's license. I can go to sea. Let's see. I'm not really good on motorcycles. I crashed those, so I'm not allowed to get on those anymore. And let's wind this up with and I want everybody to know this. How long are you married to Monique?
Oh, Thanksgiving, another month and a half. It's 54 years.
54 years. So
You haven't figured it out yet.
between Laurence Juber with his wife Hope and you with Monique, there's 90 years of wedded bliss in this band of mine at Route 66. So if you think that it can't be done in rock and roll, wrong. It can be done. This is the man that can prove that.
It's all in the attitude. Don't ask me how I did it.
I'm not going to ask you that, but I will say I'm indebted to know you and hang with you. And I've always known you've had my back. I'll always have your back. You're one of my best friends and buddies.
Likewise.
And I love you, Denny. And thanks so much for being here with us today.
Well, thanks so much for giving me the chance. I said this is a guilty pleasure playing in this band, because when we get together, oh my God, there's some shit that hits the fan, man, and it's good every time. It's good, and it's getting better and better. I can't wait to do it again. So let's get through this damn COVID. We'll play live.
So as another drummer that was mentioned that we know would say, Richard, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.